Hello, amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. Amigas, today I have the honor of welcoming Monica Guardian, a mission-driven and culturally responsive leader with more than 20 years of experience advancing equity through public service, nonprofit leadership, and cross-sector collaboration. She is known for designing and scaling impactful programs that support undeserved communities, especially in public health and workforce development. Monica's work spans government and nonprofit sectors where she has led strategic planning, organizational growth, and initiatives that open real pathways for future public health professionals and marginalized populations. As a board member, community advocate, and award-winning leader, she brings deep expertise in leadership development, stakeholder engagement, and coalition building. What I love most is that Monica leads with heart, strategy, and clarity, always creating sustainable solutions of mission-oriented organizations. And without further ado, this is Monica Guardian. Hello, amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. Exciting to see a friend that I met recently at an amazing event at the University of Pepperdine. And I was so thrilled that she said yes, that she was going to be here. And so who am I speaking about? We're talking about Monica Guardian. And she's a mission-driven leader with 20 plus years of advancing equity through public service and nonprofit leadership, creating impactful pathways for undeserved communities. Wow, that was a very tongue twister. But Monica, this is exciting to have you here. So welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast.
Thank you so much. It was so funny. I was driving and dropping off my 3-year-old this morning and thinking about Amiga, handle your shit. And it's tough, right? We procrastinate. We sometimes don't want to get out of bed, but we have to take care of it. And it just got me in this mindset. So thank you for setting this up for, women and just everyone out there to understand the importance of getting our shit done.
Get our shit together.
And it's so easy. And that we can talk about these things, right?
Right. Exactly. And I always feel that with my guests, it's like they have such a plethora of knowledge and just experiences.
Yeah.
And every time I get on the mic, it's such a joy for me because I get to know about the differences in our lives, but yet then there's similarities, like a lot of similarities porque somos Latinas. So it's so beautiful to see that we're on the same pathway and that this podcast can help someone who's listening out there
Definitely.
that can either identify or say, oh, wait, I didn't think about that idea. So this is wonderful. I'm so happy that you're here, Monica.
Thank you.
And I know you've done so much. I mean, you have so much experience in the nonprofit world, in the health sector. But before we dive into that, I always believe it's important for amigas who listen to this podcast to hear who Monica is, where did she come from, and take the trajectory, like how did that all unfold. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of your education and the things that you're up to, let's talk about you. Like, I mean, were you born here in the States? Like, were you born somewhere else? Like, let's just dive deep. Can you let us know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a first generation, born and raised East Los Angeles, California. Woo woo! Went to Garfield High School. My parents came to this country when they were pretty young. My mom was about 3 years old. My dad was about 13. Both from Mexico. My dad's from Zacatecas. My mom's from Chihuahua, Mexico. And our journey started in East Los Angeles. My grandparents, when they moved over here, they brought all of my aunts and uncles and my mom. They were all very young. They lived in the Maravilla projects for many years. And My grandfather was an amazing individual, as many of our, grandparents are. Um, he was very good with his money. He really was. He saved and saved and saved. He purchased a property in East Los Angeles. So we're right, if, for those familiar with East LA, we're right by Eastern and Cesar Chavez.
Oh yeah.
And so he bought a property there, and we were fortunate to live with my grandparents, the majority of my childhood and early adult life. My parents still live on that same property, which is amazing. But just coming from a family of culture and love, I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought, to be honest, I would watch like Sábado Gigante, and I thought everybody was Mexican, and like everybody was Mexican. And this is just how it was. We didn't really leave East LA other than like going to First Street to go shopping, or Whittier Boulevard, or Sears, or just the local place, Monterey Park. Um, but it was I was raised very fortunate because we had so much love in our family, and it stemmed from my grandparents. Um,
Mm.
if we didn't like the food that my mom was making, we'd just go to my grandma's house. She lived in the front, right? And so I had the best of both worlds. I also had my abuelita, my dad's mom, who lived with us. And so I had three grandparents, throughout my childhood. So we were very, very rich in love.
Rich.
I didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't
Right.
miss what I didn't have.
Right.
That as a child, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But our lives changed. Our lives changed significantly in 1990. My brother was murdered in a gang-related shooting in front of our home.
Oh my
And that, as you can imagine, just tore us apart. I was very young. Um, you know, the it happened in front of our home, so I was coming back from just the corner store with my sister, and we saw him on the floor, and we
God.
just couldn't believe, that had happened. And I just remember trying to look for my mom through that crowd, not seeing her, a neighbor grabbing me and just moving me away from that scene, right? It felt like thousands of people were on that street. I relived that, that day in my head probably daily. And so our family was, that was the starting point of understanding tragedy and loss and hurt and grief and anger.
Yeah.
Um, there was a lot going on in the 90s, as many can imagine, in Los Angeles, especially East LA. I think if I don't if I have my numbers correct, there was like 9 kids that were murdered within like a 3-mile radius within like 3 months. One of them, including my brother's best friend at the time. He
Oh
had
my
just passed
God.
away like a month before that. So it was a really difficult time. So
It was a tough time. Yeah.
being raised with so much love, and then having your childhood just ripped away from you was difficult, right?
Yeah.
At 10 years old, I had an older sister. Um, and she suffered a lot because she was my brother's right hand, so she was his best friend. He was 14, she was 12, and I was 10, and then I had a brother who was 3 years old at the time. Um, and I just remember the anger in my heart because we found out that a girl was driving the car, and I thought at 10, like, how could a girl do this, right? Like, I'm 10 years old, like I'm just trying to understand what's going on. Um, you know, so the love didn't stop. Um, from my mom, it didn't stop. My mom obviously went through so much, my parents, my family, but we did not stop receiving the love that we've always received. And so I thank my family for that, my aunts, my grandparents, my cousins, our neighbors. It was just talk about community. And so during that time, like my childhood, I was talking to my husband the other day. I'm like, everything that happens in your childhood, how it impacts you years and years later.
Yeah.
And I work for the senior adult population now, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But as I talk to seniors, they're still talking about incidents or tragedies, trauma, memories, good memories also that happened in your childhood, right? So
Right.
that really shaped really who I am today and my commitment to service. I got involved really young with my sister. We helped start a nonprofit organization to help keep kids away from gangs.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness. You
yeah,
and your sister?
yeah. We were part of a group there was about like 7 of us under the direction of a community leader, but they got us involved, and they wanted to make sure that we, weren't going to fall off the right, go in the wrong direction or retaliate or whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Because
Uh,
that
it
was
happened.
normal. Because
Yeah,
back
it
in the
happened.
90s, it was the rise of the gang
Yeah,
violence and
it
all
was
that. Yeah.
it was really bad. And I know it's still bad. It's just unfortunate. But what we did was we just started getting involved. We, we to the extent that we asked at the time, may she rest in peace, Gloria Molina.
Yeah.
Um, we had asked her to help fund us and give us some funding to help us, keep kids off out of gangs and come together in the center. And she did not fund us at the time. And I think I look back now because we're kids. We're like, how dare she not fund us? We didn't have a business plan. We didn't have anything. Like she's just not going to hand us
It's like we're
over a
dealing with
check.
public money. We're
Yeah,
dealing
like we didn't get it. We didn't get it. And so we ended up picketing in front of her office on Beverly Boulevard in East LA. We brought out a coffin. Like it was drama, right? We were just like, you know, and she ended up giving us $63,000 to start our
I'm not.
organization. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
she's,
see that's see the tenacity, the cojones to just be like, I'm not gonna take no for an answer.
it was, and my sister was one of the main leaders. Like my sister, Michelle Pinedo, she's everything to me. And so I was always kind of in her shadow, but doing everything that we needed to do, and very motivated by her drive. Um, but it was really awesome. So we were part of that organization all through middle school, high school, and we impacted. We had parents coming in. We would work with parents, with youth about staying out of gangs, keeping them involved, painting murals. Um, murals, and we adopted, Third Street would clean it up. King Taco would give us like free food. There's an awesome place in East LA called Lupe's Burritos. Everyone knows about it. If you don't know about it, you have to go there. A good friend of mine owns that restaurant, and the woman that ran it at the time, his grandmother, would always give us burritos because she'd see us out there cleaning. So we were just kids dedicated to finding
Service.
good, doing
Yeah.
good, keeping
Yeah.
kids out of gangs. So at like 15, I was talking to parents about what happened to us. My sister was, talking about that it wasn't fair to hear what we heard at night, which was my mom cry at night, and that we didn't want people to experience that. So that is me. Like if people want to know who I am, that is who I am. I'm a child that grew up in as I mentioned, a family and a culture full of love, spun by tragedy, and
Yeah.
turned that tragedy into service. And so I've lived every single day from there on to make a difference in people's lives. And so that's why I have such a really diverse background. Like I've touched 0 to 3 to now the elderly, and I'll continue to do so. Right. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Turning tragedy into a triumph story. I mean, this is
Yeah.
really not only amazing, but it's something to talk and for amigas out there to understand that we can always take something really bad and turn it into good.
Yeah.
And we can make it be so big that you can get the community involved. And here you guys as young kids creating a nonprofit. I mean, what was I doing when I was a kid? Playing.
Right. Right.
Oh my, and what was the name of the nonprofit?
Yeah, it was the East Los Angeles Youth Leadership Council.
Oh my God.
And it,
Does
and
it
it,
still
we ended up,
exist?
no, it ended up sunsetting, probably right when I finished high school. So maybe about 98, 99. I could be mistaken, but it ended up sunsetting. Yeah, we couldn't
Oh,
get funding
okay.
anymore. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, still have friends that were part of it. It's just great.
Amazing. So then, okay. So then you obviously, what was the next step? You finished high school. So then
Yeah,
what
so
happened?
yeah, finished high school, and I ended up going to Pasadena City College. My sister, because of her involvement in her academics, she had gotten a full ride to Occidental College through the Irvine Scholarship. So it was amazing for her because she, was my parents didn't have to worry about college expenses. When it was my turn to go to school, I was applying to various schools, Whittier College included, and my parents were like, "We just can't afford it." So I went to PCC, um, and moved in with my sister. I lived in Eagle Rock,
Okay.
And PCC was fun, but I had a little too much fun because
Well,
it was
that's
like,
what college is for.
remember, remember, I was in East LA bubble, like that's where I was, and then all of a sudden it's like
Like,
Pasadena, woohoo!
whoa, there's a whole
And
new world.
yeah, and living with my sister, and so I liked PCC. It was great experience. I just wasn't focused on my academics. It just wasn't.
Right.
I was really involved in high school. I was in like cheerleader and student body president. Like I did a lot of really great things. And so when I went to college, I wanted to have fun. So those 2 years, kind of were wasted. And I ended up kind of dropping out. And at the time, my aunt had called me. She was working for Mayor Reardon. And she said,
Okay.
Mija, there's a secretary job opening. Like you should consider it. And I was like, I don't want to be a secretary because I was working for a marketing company at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And I just didn't really know what the job entailed. I wasn't really involved in understanding how important it would be to work for the city, right? So went for the interview. I ended up getting the interview. I worked for Mayor Reardon's administration towards the last year of his term, and I had a wonderful, wonderful boss. His name was Jeff Walden, and he just put a lot of trust in me. And he knew
Mm,
my story because I remember interviewing with him and he told me, same thing like you, Jackie, tell me about yourself. And
yeah.
it's hard for me not to tell that story because it defines who I am. You'll
Yeah.
understand the faith, the commitment, the passion when you understand my story. And so he invested a lot of time in sitting with me, helping me communicate, my whether it was writing an email, whatever it was, he just worked with me very well. And so I was kind of the office manager, if you will, of the mayor's office, economic development department, and grew under his leadership. And then when Reardon termed, we were all nervous because it was a new, it was new leadership. We didn't know if we would be able to stay. But I interviewed with Han's administration and I was able to stay. So I worked for Mayor Han for a couple of years, and immediately went into like project management. I was managing $12 million in block grant funding for mostly the east side communities of Los Angeles. And it was awesome. Like it was just, it was one of those. I think what worked for me was that I understood people. And
Yeah.
one thing a skill that I now look back on that I didn't fully own or understand that I had, that was a very strong skill set, was empathy.
Mm,
And that really derived from listening to understand people, listening to their story, meeting people where they were. I'd been doing that since I was a very young girl.
right.
So I did pretty well in terms of, when you talk about program successes and, my performance reviews were always really good. I was just very loyal to my job. But then I realized at the time that I had to go back to school. I realized, in the city, if I really wanted to move up, I needed to go back to school. So it was time
Yeah.
for me. And also during that time, I had gotten pregnant with my daughter, and so with my ex-husband, we decided to get married. I got married. I had my daughter, so I was kind of working within the city throughout that time, and ended up going back to school. And so I went to Mount St. Mary's College, their weekend college program, phenomenal program. There's no way I would have ever been able to do it. And I ended up graduating. I think uh, my by the time I graduated, my son was 6 months old.
Oh,
So I had
wow.
now had my second kid.
Yeah.
And all that journey was going on while I was working for the city of LA. And so it was really awesome because the women I worked with in the various positions in the city. So I was at the mayor's office for a couple of years, and then I went to the city attorney's office. And the women was working for, they really vested their time. They really saw talent in me.
Mm,
Um, my mentors, Anne Tremblay, Rita Venegas, Kristen Birdsong. Um, they're all still prominent people working for local government, and they really nurtured who I was. They would count how many times I say They're probably counting it. They'll be counting it once they listen to this podcast because I can't not
yeah.
stop saying because you're from
I,
East LA, like
you
yeah.
know.
And they would count it when I would be in front of a community, community meeting or something.
Right.
Anyhow, so I had a lot of that support and empowerment. And that was awesome to be able to raise a family and have that support. And just look at how badass these women were, whether it was
Mm.
driving their nice cars or showing up in their suits. And back then, it was all about, your Louis Vuitton bag and all that. And I was just like fascinated. I'm like, I want all of that. How do I get there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you just get fascinated by it. But,
Right.
beyond that, a lot of it was just commitment to community. And
Yeah.
these women were serving the community. They were neighborhood prosecutors, dedicating their time. They had families. They had, they just had a lot of other, um, their own challenges that they were
Right.
facing, and still delivering quality work. And so I admired them a lot. Um, the one thing that I think hurt me the most was, uh, there was opportunity for me, I believe, to really get involved young, whether they were Latina, centered groups or whatever it may be. Women just at the time weren't friendly.
No.
And that was
Mm-mm.
tough because I'm like, you look like me and you're asking
Yeah.
me why I'm here. Like,
Right.
what's going on? And so that was hard. And so I didn't pursue some of that stuff because I didn't feel supported.
Right.
And I felt supported by, these other women. And I just left it at that. And so I didn't get as involved as like a lot of Latina women do in a lot of the organizations. And I do regret it. I should have fought a little bit harder or just went for it. And so
Yeah.
my advice to other women, if anyone ever makes you feel uncomfortable or whatever it is, just keep going for it. You're going to find the right people. And there
Right.
are. I found
With-
some incredible friends and people, but it was such a turnoff for me.
Yeah.
It was really
Yeah.
sad.
No, I
And,
know. I think
so like
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think that there is this, I think we're getting better, but there has been this competitive nature that
yeah,
has been imposed in us
yeah,
that we're, but I want to believe my hallucination is that we are getting better at that. Like building more friendships, building more
yeah,
partnerships, more community within our
yeah,
community, if you
yeah.
will.
And I think that those who have experienced it need to stand up, right? So
Mm.
I'm the type of person that, and I'll be very honest, I'm constantly, I'm an employer, so I'm interviewing folks, or if I see a young Latina come in, she looks maybe a little bit timid, or maybe because she's very pretty, she's just a little bit more guarded. It happens, right? I make sure to go out of my way
Yeah.
to let her know that, you know, I'm here. If you have questions, you can trust that and build that trust. Because
Right.
we're guarded for reasons, right? We're guarded because people look at us a certain way, or, you know, they may have said they're going to do something, they don't show up for us, whatever it is. And I understand that, and we need to protect ourselves.
Right.
But I've made it a commitment to myself to make sure to always, who's in the room that looks like they're a little nervous, who looks like me back in the
Yeah.
day. I'm going to go up
Yeah.
to them and introduce myself and just, how's it going? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Because sometimes that's
it's
all you need. That's all
all
you
you
need.
need. Yeah,
All
that's
you
all
need
you
is
need.
that hi, that friendly
Yeah,
smile.
yeah,
How can I help you?
yeah, yeah.
Easy.
Exactly. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's a lot of, just a lot of the journey, and in between that, obviously balancing family, going back to school, um, and just staying committed. But I touched a lot of incredible projects in the city of Los Angeles.
Mm.
And then I ended up landing in the family
Can you tell
violence
us one
division.
that really like, oh my God, I'll never
Oh,
forget
geez.
this one.
So the coolest experience I've ever had, my like moment of fame, was I was working for one of my mentors, Tracy Webb. She was a city attorney for deputy city attorney, and she was in charge of all the special projects. We were responsible for um, cyber safety in the city of Los
Mm.
Angeles. So we worked with the ICAC, which is the wait, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, and the FBI.
Oh my God.
So as an attorney, as she was, filing these cases, I was coming in to do the prevention work and the intervention. So if there was a raid in a community of somebody who had a possession of child pornography or whatever it may have been,
Yeah.
I would come into that community and do the education and work with the schools and the parents, and the dangers of the internet, and walking parents what they can do to safeguard their children in their home, making sure that they didn't have their laptop in their bedroom, things like
Yeah.
that, right? This is back in 2008, 2009. And so we had done such incredible work that somehow the U.S. Embassy of Uruguay found out. And they sent us a letter and said, we need your help because we have a new policy where we are going to issue one laptop per child in Uruguay. Like that is
Yeah.
what we're going to do. And we need to know what we're getting ourselves into.
Right.
So they wanted us to come out and educate them on the dangers, the safeguards. And so my boss was really excited. She's like, but I don't speak Spanish. She's like, can you do it? And I was like,
You're like, yes, 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 yes.
like I speak East LA Spanish. I don't know that it's gonna work. So we had a series of meetings. Obviously, I made sure I studied my words and made sure that I was understood people from Uruguay and how to speak. And they put me on this beautiful business class, trip to Uruguay for a
Yeah.
week. I
Nice.
still didn't know what I was getting myself into. When I got there, I stayed at a really nice hotel. I was on the same floor as the vice president of Ecuador. Okay, that's how they were treating me. They would pick me up
Wow.
in this white van and take me to all these different meetings. I met with their social workers, their law enforcement, community groups, teachers. I spoke at a symposium. I was on, it was Buen Dia Uruguay, like Good Day America.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was I was featured on that, and we talked about what we've done in the States and what they needed to do in Uruguay. Um, it was incredible. There was like these little mini billboards of my face, like that I was there. It was,
You were like, people are asking for your autograph, right?
and I must have been like maybe 30, 31, 32 at the time. But it was just an incredible experience. The trust that not only my boss that she put in me in the city of LA to represent the city, but the people of Uruguay. I mean, it was an incredible experience. That was my claim to fame. I'm fine with it.
Well, I can imagine,
Yeah,
this is incredible, like going international waters and teaching them about cybersecurity and how to implement these policies and
yeah,
procedures in their country.
yeah, yeah. It
Wow,
was incredible. It was
incredible.
incredible
Incredible.
experience. Yeah, yeah,
Yes. So obviously you're a natural born leader. And so you're taking your leadership skills not only in the government, but now you are doing nonprofit work and in the health sphere. So take us to what happened. You left the government at some point,
yeah, yeah. I did.
and why?
So, working for the city attorney's office was incredible, but I hit a glass ceiling. I wasn't a prosecutor. I was considering going to law school. I didn't think that I had the support to be able to do so, or the financial backing. And so I ended up having an opportunity to work for Ultimate Health Services. Two really good friends of mine, Ozzy Lopez and Jenny Carrion, they both tag teamed. They were both at Ultimate and said, "We need you. What you've been doing for the city, like come work with us, right?" And I thought, Ultimate is awesome. Like Ultimate is a federally qualified health center. My grandparents received their services. I knew who they were, and I thought, this is incredible. It's Latino owned, family owned, like.
Yeah.
And I went for it, and so I joined them as a program manager in workforce development, again with a commitment to youth and making sure that they had the tools and the resources to set themselves up for success in terms of their career paths. So we created workforce pipeline programs for medical assistants, nurses, all the way up to residency programs for medical students. And that was just an incredible journey. I was entrusted with, multi-million-dollar grants, federal, private, and then I ended up getting promoted to director of the workforce development department. I did some incredible work. Ultimate is awesome.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, working with medical students, I've just recently um, received a thank you letter from some of those students that are now doctors, right?
Oh, that
And
is
nurses. A
so.
lot of them, one just finished UCLA, the nursing program. The other is an MD now. And receiving those thank you letters for the work that we did has just been heartwarming. So,
Wow.
an incredible journey. That was, I knew like I'm just going to stay in this place, right? Things changed a little bit for me in terms of the cultural um, alignment in terms of leadership and the delivery. And so I made the decision to leave. And it took me a while to find my footing. I worked for a vocational institution that did vocational training for youth, and I helped them get some contracts. But then I got a call, kind of magically. I got a call from Orange County, a PACE program that was starting. So PACE is a program for all-inclusive care of the elderly. And I was
Yeah.
familiar with PACE because Ultimate runs PACE.
Yeah.
And they said they're looking for an executive director. It's a brand new program. This is healthcare for seniors. And I thought, the most I've ever worked with seniors is, elder fraud prevention. Like, I really don't have this experience. But I thought, hey, what the heck? Let me interview.
Right.
Um, I
It's time to grow
interviewed.
into another pasture.
Yeah, I interviewed and I did my homework. I started calling a few friends. The gentleman that was Fred Flores, that was he was the lead kind of headhunter, you could say, right? Executive recruiter. He worked with me. He worked with me, worked on my resume, prepared me for it. He said, "Amiga, you can do this. They need you."
Yeah.
And I thought, let's do it. And I interviewed with the CEO. CEO was a conversation more than an interview, and they gave me the keys to the building and went for it. So when I
Yeah.
started there, I think we had like 30, maybe like 33, 30 to 37 roughly seniors enrolled in the program, and I helped grow that significantly. My retention with the employees was like at an all-time high. So it was an incredible experience.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that, those career journeys have been great. I think my lens has just been, as I've through Ultimate into Orange County PACE, I've learned that as a leader, you're not a leader until you can build other leaders, period.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
not,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yes.
you need
Yes.
to be able to multiply leaders. And I didn't get that up until maybe a couple of years ago, to be
Leaders
honest.
lead, right?
Yeah, and so you have to be able to develop other leaders. It's not just about leading people up that, and then you're just a dictator, right? No, you need to multiply that. And so I've learned in that journey and that transition, even the folks that we were dealing with, that the people delivering care,
Yeah.
the staff, the case managers, the social workers, the nurses, the receptionists, the environmental services team, they were the ones that I needed to focus on, because we're a people serving organization, or we're in the
Mhm.
people serving industry. We need to take care of our people.
Yeah.
So my commitment was to dial in on, their gaps, whether it was their skill set, maybe, for example, like PACE, we're heavily regulated. So if someone didn't thoroughly understand the regulations, well, no wonder, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's take a step back and get you up to speed. The other was spending time with managers. So a lot of it was observing. I'd like to observe you interview someone.
Mhm.
I'd like to
Yeah.
observe you give a performance review, just so that I can
Yeah.
catch those blind spots, and then we can work on them together. Are you in? I would tell
Right.
them things like that. Are you in? Yes. So if they were open to the coaching, and then help elevate those teams, and then just have a really good pulse, trusting but verifying that things were happening.
Mhm.
And I think and I don't know if it was because of this sense of autonomy in that role, that the trust that they gave me
Right.
at Orange County PACE to be able to do that, I went for it. I was like,
Nice.
we're gonna make sure that these people are gonna perform while they're here, and whether they stay here or not, that they're gonna keep performing. Like, that is my
Yes.
commitment.
That's the thing. It's like
Yeah,
there are certain bosses that want to keep you in
right,
and not allow you to grow. And then the other bosses that are like, okay, this is temporary and I know that, and so I'm going to build
right,
you as an individual.
right.
And those are the bosses that will always come back and have a conversation with you. They're the ones that will come back and thank you,
Yeah,
versus the other kind of bosses. It's like, what is it like? Aren't we supposed to, like you said, leaders are supposed to help other leaders to
yeah,
blossom
yeah,
and move forward? Because every individual on this planet has their own contract, if you will.
Right.
on this planet, right? And one of them is to grow. Like we got to grow. Like if we don't grow, we die.
Right. Right.
I'm glad that you're
Yeah.
leading the way in that you're like allowing people to grow, and you are there to empower them to take that next step, because
Yeah.
you know that this job may not be temporary, but this person is permanent, and this
It
person has
is. It is.
is a chance.
And if people are trusting you in that leadership role, you have that obligation, that responsibility, that, where's your moral compass, right? Like
Yeah,
if you're entrusted to do that,
yeah,
do it right.
do it right.
And here's the thing is like, I've learned through great, like to lean in on good leadership,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I've learned, what not to do from bad leadership. Like, I'm
Yes.
glad I had bad leadership in my, I'm glad, like, that's how I learned.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
it sucked. It was
Right,
awful, but it was a big, I had a lot of takeaways from that.
right.
So yeah, that journey, at Pace was just amazing. I've transitioned since then. Most recently, I just completed a CEO and training program with Pennant, and it's a Pennant owns home health, hospice, and assisted
Mhm.
living communities, and so I'm on the assisted living community side. So now it's long-term care for seniors, people that can no longer live in their homes and need to transition to a facility, or community is what we call them. So they've been there about 7 months. I finished the program. I took my state exam, passed that, and so right now I'm interim helping our market. We have 7 communities in California, and so they've entrusted me, given me the keys to a building in Ventura. And so just, that's kind of where I am right now. So wherever I
Yeah,
plant my feet, right,
right.
I am eyes and ears open,
Mhm.
um, continue to serve. The great thing about Pennant is that their core values is it's like customer second, meaning we put employees first. And so that mission alignment was important for me because that's who I
Yeah,
am. If we're
yeah,
people serving, take care of your people.
right.
So I'm
Yeah.
dialing in, and it's just been an incredible um, experience and journey. While I'm here, I'm gonna
Keep going.
give
Keep
give it all that
going.
I can. And let me tell you, like if we had a lot more time, I could tell you about assisted living, and if I had a little camera on my head, the things that happen in these communities. Because think of like a dorm, right,
Yeah,
setting, and
right.
and you have seniors that live there. Like we
Huh.
have, and we're taking care of them, right? So they have their lunch ready, they get their rooms clean, their medication management. But there's like this sense of community and like things that happen, right? Like it's just
Yes. It's like
it's
the
it,
vecindad. Like,
yeah, yes,
just-
yeah. So
and they're
it's been,
seniors, so they're stuck in their ways. So,
yeah, exactly. Oh man, all the stories I have. But yeah,
oh,
but
this is,
it's just been great. But I can't, I have to just put in a little plug. That whole journey, so all this career stuff going on,
yeah,
I went through my first marriage, went through a separation and a divorce, and then with in a couple of years ended up remarrying. And so
the same person?
no,
No,
a different
a
person.
different person.
So
Okay.
I'm in my second marriage,
Uh-huh.
and so I have 2 kids. I have my daughter's now 23, my son is 18. Um, my second husband, my husband now, my only husband, I'm not trying to do this again. But he had 3 kids of his own. So when we reunited, because I'd met him when I was younger in high school, and we had disconnected for about 13 years. When I reengaged with him and met him, um, you know, we he was a big champion of my growth.
Mm.
Um, I had never received that type of support from anyone other than like really my sister, um, in terms of you need to go for it. And so that I think, made me really fall even more in love. And so he was constantly pushing, keep going for it, And so we ended up blending our families together. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary in our home when we bought our home. I
Mm.
still remember the day of moving all the kids in.
Yeah.
We took them to Palm Springs. I had my kids in my car. He had his kids in his car. And we told them we had bought a house and that we were going to move in together. My kids were crying all the way to Palm Springs. His kids were happy. And it was just, we were making a big decision. I had
Right.
just, so it was a big transition for us. And we ended up blending the family.
Blended.
And since then, it's just been this wonderful, experience for all of us, and for our kids to be able to see me continue to grow in my career and see that support from my husband. And he has his own incredible career, but
Yeah.
for him to keep prioritizing me to reach those goals because he knows the impact I can make. That's just been, I have to put that plug in because I would not be here without having that
And what's his
foundation
name? And
to
what's
love.
his name?
Robert Guardian.
Okay,
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robert, this is for you.
Yeah, so it's important, because he's my, him and my sister, they're my number one cheerleaders.
Yeah, yeah. You
But
have
having
some
that
human
foundation,
guardian
yeah.
angels, I
Yeah,
always say.
yeah, exactly, right. There's look at the last name I have, which is Guardian.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Guardia?
yeah, Guardian.
Yes. Yeah, there
Crazy,
you
huh?
go. See, I didn't even like that just came out of my mouth.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. So, so when you talk about, and I love, again, Amiga, handle your shit, like handle it and tap into who you can. I think
Yeah,
that a lot of women sometimes don't have the support, so they have to do it themselves.
yeah,
And I know how hard that can be because I've been in that position. I've also been in the position where I know I can ask for help and I don't.
yeah,
So if we need to handle it, then call your community, call your sisters, call your friends,
yeah,
ask
yeah.
for the help
Ask for the help.
and be there, right?
Yes.
Deliver. So I just, like I said, I don't want to throw us too much off topic, but I had to give it that plug because,
Of course.
and
Yes.
so fast forward really quick. So we ended up getting pregnant. Um, you know, he's 3.5 now. My husband and I were not planning on having kids.
Yeah.
He had 3 of his own. I had 2 of mine.
Yeah.
We were in the clear. We already had
Yeah.
one graduating high school, and I found that I was pregnant. Um, and here we are with
Here
a
you
3-year
are.
old. Yeah, 3-year-old.
You're like,
Yeah.
geez,
So
yes.
so my daughter is 23, and I have a 3-year-old. Right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But
And
what
they
a
and they
blessing.
probably think it's her kid,
Yeah.
right?
No, she's like, no, she makes it very
Yeah.
clear, like, that's my mom's kid.
Yeah. But the reality is that like
Yeah.
people like will probably say like, "Oh, that's your baby." No.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. But I think that's the incredible journey is, because like even when we were at Prospanica, at the event, so many of us are moms,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
on top of our careers, like my son, he's 18, he's my world. Um, my focus is making sure that he is setting himself up for success. My daughter's 23. She went to Cal Poly Pomona, graduated. She's an associate buyer for Ross. She
Mhm.
handles the DD's discounts and the
Yeah.
little girls department, so she gets to like choose the style of the black and brown girls.
Yeah.
It's amazing, right? But these are my kids. Like this
Yeah.
is everything that I do is for them,
Of
right?
course.
As much as I'm out there giving to the community, I need to remind myself because it happens where I'm so focused and honed in on problems at work or challenges to help people, get the services they need, that there's disconnects at home. And so
Yeah.
I have to reel myself back and check in with my son and check in with my daughter, my husband, my stepkids. It's this constant responsibility. And that's why people are like, how do you do it? Like, don't stress yourself out so much. And it's like, you don't think about it. You
Yeah.
get it done.
You get
You
it
get it
done.
done.
You get it
Right.
done. Yeah.
And I know so many
Absolutely.
women are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So kudos to all of us.
Yes, kudos. Absolutely. I would be remiss if I didn't ask because we're living in, you know, very uncertain times politically and economically. And I know that you're in the nonprofit world, and I know that the federal government keeps pulling out funding.
Yeah.
Is there any concern that you see in the horizon?
Well, so right now I work for a private company, right? So we don't have any impact. I work for a private pay community, but some of our communities do receive funding from what they call CalAIM,
Yeah.
or they're on assisted living waivers. What we understand is those individuals that will continue to qualify. We haven't heard of any impact, but I know at the community clinic level. I sit on a board for Northeast Community Clinics, and I'm kind of dialed in on what's happening with community clinics that have been serving the underserved, the undocumented communities as well. My understanding is that there will be, and there already kind of has been some
Mm,
impact, and
yeah.
so um, there's changes in terms of how people are using their funding,
Yeah.
and how, they'll get reimbursed. And so it's, there's still a lot of unknown out there, but we've seen things get cut, drastically.
Right.
I was, just in the last couple of weeks, I've transitioned out of USC. I teach a leadership course for their Center for Third Space Thinking. So on the education side,
Yeah.
USC has done immediate cuts. And so through that, the center has to close down. So I won't be able to carry that, that role anymore. Right. It's a small, project that I work on
Right.
a monthly basis. But for those in that sector, there continues to be, people that are losing their jobs,
Right.
or losing services. And so now's the time more than ever to help, and ask how you can help. I'm a big advocate. I mean, I see people that post, a lot of things out there, and I think it's great. And I guess my question, or my call to action is, how about we work on something together, or how
Mm.
about you, that anger, I think that is real. And of
Yeah.
course it's unjust, and we're getting it out there and we're talking about it, but what are we doing about it?
What are
Right.
we
So
doing about it? Yeah.
what can we do? And if you don't know, like, how can we help each other? Is it a
Right.
neighbor? Is it, a family out there? There's all these great Facebook groups that, you can reach out to people to say, hey, I got extra this, or I got that, or what do you need? It's just, it doesn't, you don't have to blast it on social media that you're helping people. Just ask,
Yeah.
ask who needs that help. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to continue to see impact. We saw a lot what was going on in our communities initially in May and June with, all the raids going on, and then it kind of calmed down, and then it's kind of back up again. So we just we have to be on alert, make ourselves available to, provide, any support that's needed. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Um, but I do understand that there is major impact, occurring. Yeah. As we
Yeah.
speak. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a waterfall to a lot of things that are
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
So I know that I don't want to end on a bad note. Let's
Yeah.
go up, and we're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna. I want your 2 tips on how an amiga can handle her shit. So I know you've
Oh
been
man.
telling us so many, but let's like break it down.
So one thing that, I pride myself on, and my friends always tease me. I don't know if it stems from my grandmother, who was always very well dressed and polished.
Ooh,
But getting up and getting dressed, whether it's a little makeup, if you don't wear makeup, fine, but doing your hair, whatever, putting it on something that you like, the sense of your feeling and your well-being, looking at yourself in the mirror is so important. So when you do that, whether you're working at home, and I know it's hard, especially like, you have kids, or you're a stay-at-home mom, or whatever it may be, but when you put that effort into yourself, for some reason, it drives me. So I my advice is always like, get up, take care of yourself, look presentable for yourself. Um, and my handy old school to-do list. I literally have to write things out. I will literally write personal, whatever work I'm doing, if I'm,
yeah,
projects or whatever, and I'll write down everything that needs to get done that day. And I will try my best to get them all done. If they don't, I give myself some grace. I'll get them done tomorrow. I'll call and ask for an extension, whatever it may be. I'm so sorry I didn't bring, the family picture I was supposed to bring for my son, for school for
I know,
tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, whatever it is, but I know it's written down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's those two things for me. It's getting up, getting ready, my to-do list. And, I get up a lot. I don't know if it's because I'm older now. I'll be 45 this year. But I wake up about 4:30.
So Monica, if you could share with us your tips, I so appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I pride myself on this, and my friends always tease me. Monica, you're always dressed up. You're always, high heels, and your hair's always done. And I think it stems from, my grandmother. So my grandmother was always very polished, so beautiful. Her makeup, her hair done. She didn't wear a lot of makeup, but just very poised. And so I felt like she walked in a room, or she was in her home, like she just earned that respect. And so I just picked it up from her. And so when you talk about like handling your shit, like handle yourself first.
Mm.
So put on whatever makes you feel good, whether it's makeup, doing your hair, a blazer, like I'm always in blazers and heels or jeans or whatever it makes you feel good, do that for yourself because that energy that it just goes, it'll match well and it'll set the tone for the day.
Hmm.
And then the second part is really just very old school, my handy dandy to-do list. I will have, one section that says personal, the other section that says work, and I will jot down absolutely everything that needs to get done for that day. If I don't mark off everything on that list, I give myself some grace. I'll call and get those extensions if I need to. I'll put in phone calls if I have to say I forgot, whatever it is. But that's what really keeps me organized. Um, it's just those two things. Like I think that that's what it is. And a lot of it also is in the morning because I have so much responsibility with the kids and work. I get up earlier. I set my intentions. I'm a woman of faith.
Mm.
I will get up and do my morning ritual. I don't want to get too spiritual, but I did listen to this audiobook. It's called Two Chairs, and it's about waking up, really early and putting out a chair and having a conversation.
Mm.
And that has been life changing for me
Yeah.
to really sit in silence and set those good intentions for myself. One foot in front of the other, give myself the grace and get whatever I can get it done and not
Yeah.
feel so bad at the end of the day when I can't.
Right, right. And I think that's, God, I love these tips because it does make a difference when you get ready. Like it's like it really does set the tone
Mhm.
and it carries you throughout the day and it really permeates. Like, you know, when you look good, there's this podcaster. Um, she's um, she's, and I think she's Cuban American.
Mhm.
Her name is Caroline. I forget her last name, but anyhow, her whole thing is about look good, do good, and it's so true. I mean, there is something about dressing up and looking good, and it really will help you
Yeah,
inside too.
yeah,
Because if you have
absolutely.
like, let's say you wake up, I mean, shitty in the morning, aches and pains, but once you put your stuff together and you look good,
Yeah,
it changes your perspective on life and perspective that day especially.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not
That and
about
then
yeah, and it's not about vanity.
no.
It's just about your presentation. Feeling good in your body is important. Um, and looking yourself in the mirror and loving yourself like that. It's hard for us to do that sometimes.
Yeah, it
Sometimes
is.
I
It
wake up
is.
and I'm like, ooh, what's going on today? I'm
I was
not
like,
having a good
damn,
day.
ojeras.
Yeah, what's happening? But those things I think are really important
Oh yeah.
for me, and they really help. And I love when women will come to me and be like, can you help me? Absolutely, let's go.
Let's go.
I'm the queen of of shopping and thrifting and styling. I love that stuff. So anyone ever needs that help, I'm here.
I'm like, you know what? I am always like, I'm a fashionista. Like in me, I'm like, I should have been like a designer. I mean, which is
Yeah,
one of the things I wanted to be, but I became a lawyer and well, then that's all she wrote. But I still like feel like, okay, I'm not dead. So let's get it. Let's
yeah,
do it.
absolutely, absolutely,
Oh my God, I love this conversation, Monica, and I hope for us to come back on the mic, and if not, at least un cafecito in the near
absolutely, Jackie.
future.
It's incredible. Thank you for what you're doing and setting a platform for women out there. And I've been tuning into all of your podcasts and catching up. So maybe you do a reunion so that we can all meet or something. That would be awesome.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Hey, you're giving me ideas.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, so thankful that you're here. This has been lovely, and I'm looking forward to many more conversations with you, Monica.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
so much,
being
Jackie.
here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being on Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast.
Let's do it. Thank you.